Hi everyone, it's Madeline from Natural Hormone Healing. I am here with my client Amarni. She is such an amazing human being, and I've just really enjoyed working with her. She is from the UK, just in London. Is that correct?
Yes, London, just in a little town above London.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, I wanted to bring her on to share her experience within the program because I think so many people are struggle with really, really intense, painful periods. And I wanted to share your experience with how you've been able to reduce that pain and improve some other things. So thanks so much for coming on and sharing this with everyone.
I'd be delighted to. So when I first had my periods, they started when I was around 15. Um, they were really, really painful. So I've had a really long history of just having very painful periods. Um, and every month, I would get the usual PMS, a bit of cramping, a bit of nausea, but over time it really got worse. So I was experiencing just an overwhelming throbbing heat sensation, and I couldn't really even walk. So I was really tied to my bed for at least 2 or 3 days. I also had a lot of nausea, a lot of bloating, a lot of gut issues when that period started, and and it would honestly affect my ability to just go to school, and just keep up with any grades or and have a social life as well. So it's definitely been a really big battle for me because I didn't really have that chance, to go to the doctors and explain this. I was, turned away so many times and given ibuprofen and a lot of really harsh painkillers. So that was really my only option back then. It was just really to put up with this, and with the pain. So it was not a good situation at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially when you're having to go through school and you want to go out and have fun and go to class, like always having that period every month, it can be tough, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think the mental health aspect of it is really not it's not talked about as much as the pain, because when you really do expect that pain to come every month, um and that this time, is it going to be the same, is it going to be different, you feel there's no other way but to feel really anxious that leading up to this, am I going to have to reschedule this event, or am I going to have to take off sick leave? So it's really something that over the years just got me in a quite depressed state, and moving forward I just couldn't, I couldn't go on like that. I really feel like that anxiety is just as bad as, and it causes a lot of stress. It's just as bad as the pain, when it comes to actually dealing with this issue with painful periods.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so big. And thanks for sharing that because it's something you need to talk more about because it's really a big issue. And I want to go a little bit further too. So when you came into the program, we saw that we really dove a lot into the root causes, and we saw that you were dealing with like skin issues in the past and also some digestive issues. And I know that was something that shifted first before the period issues. So can you share a little bit about that and what changed for you going forward?
Yes. So in the very beginning of this program, the definitely the skin issues. I noticed right away that there was something different, maybe a difference in my texture, and the way that my skin glowed. I was getting a lot of compliments as well. My mum could notice that, um, and along with that as well, I was just noticing a bit of a less inflammation. So it's, through the program, as I was adjusting my diet, I noticed that the bloating was definitely a massive issue for me before. And I just wasn't able to eat anything. And, digest it properly or not have a reaction to it, I would always notice that my stomach would just, expand. So that was with pretty much anything I ate. But I noticed that especially with the bloating, as I began to really consider what I put in my mouth, what I ate from then, I really just noticed that the bloating just was completely different. And almost to the point where I just wake up in the morning and I have no bloating at all. So that was one of the two first things, was the face and the digestion that changed for me, which was just great to see for the
Yeah.
first time in years,
Yeah. And that's when we're seeing that. I remember telling you, like, this is when we know it's working, like, to just see those. We don't just look at the period right away. We look at all these other signs. So we know as you're healing that you're seeing those changes.
My last period was leading up to this. I was, I was still very a bit anxious, as you say, and carrying that through from my whole life of having a period. You don't know what you're going to expect. So through that period, when it came, I was noticing that it started as it usually did, and on a scale from 1 to 10, the pain level, which was my first period ever in my life, was around a 9 or 10. So very, very extreme. This last period that I had was very, very minimal. It was almost a 3 or 4, just to where I could literally get out of my bed and walk into the kitchen and then get food on my very first day. So that was a massive shock to me, and that I hadn't experienced in years. So honestly, that last period was amazing. The bloating wasn't as bad as before. I was still able to eat and digest. I had never been able to do that the month prior to that. I could not eat for at least 3 days or 2 days. I would just fast. I wouldn't be able to drink anything. Yeah. So it was really, really extreme. But the difference from just that 1 month into what I did in the protocol was amazing, because I was suddenly just able to work right after that the next day after I had my period. And all of the nausea as well. I wasn't vomiting anymore. So it was a completely different experience for me. So yeah, realizing that when you get a result like that, it really does make you see how worth it is.
Yes.
Because this is life, and if you're spending 2 or 3 days in your bed, that's not living it. So I really had to realize that this is probably the best decision I've made, is to just change the way I was living my life. So it's 100% what I see I'm going to even follow through for my next period, and the anxiety for my next period is going to be so much less now that I've experienced it in a positive light.
Yeah, amazing. It's big. It's a huge thing to be able to see those changes. And yeah, I'm curious, like, is there anything else you want to share with anyone that you think would help, like, especially for those who are also really struggling right now with the pain every single month?
Yeah. So there's so many things. There's so many things out there. I think when it comes to struggling with pain, it's definitely a 2-step approach. There's the physical side of it, but there's also the mental side. And I feel like, for me, everyone is different. But if I didn't work on that 50% of my human being, of myself, managing my stress, making sure I interact with people and doing things that I enjoy, it would have never, just the physical things would have never worked. So it's definitely a joint effort, and there's definitely a lot of things that it's a combined approach for me. So what I found is that really holistic approach to going into what type of foods you eat, going as down to the level of your hormones as well, And if, you know, if it's something to do with hormones, then that's for some people. But I feel like for everyone, you know, that side of that stress and mental health and that physical side, combining them both is definitely, it's an unstoppable approach to deal with
Yes.
this you know, issue that, you
Mhm.
know, plagues so many people. So I feel like there, you know, since it does affect so many people, um you know, we are, you know, even though everyone is different, there is definitely a reason why. So I think, you know, with that, we definitely have to see what is affecting us through all of those channels to get a better look at why it's happening.
Definitely. Yeah, there's so many different layers and levels. And I think you were really, yeah, came into this really open to going deep, and really you were so committed with the protocols, and really committed to that. So yeah, I'm so happy to like hear your results, and thanks so much for sharing all of this. And yeah, it's been so great to work with you.
No, honestly, it's been so great to work with you, Madeline.
Awesome. Thank
It's
you.
no worries.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm so happy to have done this, honestly.
Oh, awesome.